Hi, this is Sanjay Bharti and welcome to another episode of TFR Insight. And today we have with us Bob Quillin. You are Vice President of Oracle Cloud Developer Relations. Bob, we chat on regular basis, but this time there has been a gap, right? I think it's almost 2 or 3 or 4 months now. So let's just try to kind of just recap that what has happened in these last 4 or 5 months in terms of Oracle Cloud or open source. Just tell us a bit about that.
We've had kind of a really important 6 to 9 months leading up to KubeCon and then in the time since then. So we GA'd our big serverless product called Oracle Functions, and that was a big milestone for Oracle. At KubeCon in San Diego, we talked a lot about our new product, Oracle API Gateway, and how that works with integration and bringing together a lot of our autonomous database services, our SaaS services, and the cloud native services. As one of the big glue elements that helps people migrate and do enterprise cloud migrations. We also talked about some of the more open source stuff we've been doing around Kafka and streaming. Our streaming service, our logging service was released, and it's got a Fluid module, which makes it compatible with the CNCF standards. Just a couple weeks ago, we released our Oracle Cloud Shell, which is a Linux always available command line shell that the developers can use, kind of consistent with the developer theme. And it has straight connections to Git and SQL+, of course, and Java and kubectl for Kubernetes. It's a broad range of ways to get to all the cloud services that we offer, but also developer tools they use in a single command line interface. So. And also seen a lot of success and progress along automation with our resource manager product, which is based upon Terraform, the open source standard, and for people using automation for operations, for monitoring, for deployments, and then all those things come together with kind of the announcement today and coming out on Wednesday around our certification, our developer certification for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. So.
Right. If you look at the cloud native landscape, and from that perspective, because when as we were talking earlier, it's actually, now it's hard to find what all Oracle does, because earlier it was just database company. Now you guys are doing a lot of this, and a lot of these emerging technologies, as they're coming up. When you look at developer resources, or people, they have to actually deploy these technologies, use it. So first of all, what kind of challenges you see in the market when it comes to, skilled people, or people who are actually certified or qualified to actually help these? So can you talk about that so that we can understand, what is the problem that you're trying to solve with certification?
I think and I think we actually talked about this in the 2020 predictions too, and from KubeCon, that the skills gap continues to be widening, and I won't say we're at crisis level, but I continue to hear from enterprise development teams it's the number one issue for them, both finding new developers they can recruit in, but also educating and helping their current set of developers who have more legacy skills to learn about cloud native, run cloud services, and kind of develop that approach and all those best practices. So this kind of stays consistent with that theme. You always see cultural change, complexity, training, even multi-cloud and kind of cloud lock-in, all being issues, the top issues in any kind of survey that's out there. And the cultural change, people trying to develop and understand ways to, what are the new DevOps tooling that's required and that's available for developers to use. It may not be something that you're used to using. All the new, every KubeCon and there's new things coming out, the sandbox, new things coming out in terms of certified tools, et cetera, and new services. So there's once you think you know one level, there's no level on top of that, no level on top of that. So what we've seen is that it's really imperative, and it's kind of almost an obligation for the ecosystem to get involved in trying to help out developers. One of the points that we're doing is we're providing all our content for free, all our learning content for free as part of Oracle Cloud and part of this developer set of services. And CNCF is doing their part. You see, so many different local meetups, conferences, all providing learning paths for people to get new skills, extend their existing skills, and then build on top of the skills they already have. It's important. It's important personally for developers to help them master new skills and continue to grow. You should always be learning. ABL, I guess it is, and finding new ways to challenge yourself, and new cloud services are a great way to do that. But it's almost, if you want to keep your job or get promotions internally, get access to some of the more fun and exciting new projects, they're all going to be in this green field. Is going to be clouds, the cloud natives who require these new skills. And so you don't want to be left behind in focusing on just some of the past legacy technologies, where there's new technologies that are available to you. And it helps you internally, as a developer, but also it's important, externally. Put your resume, put it online. You get, for certifications, you get little emblems, and you collect and trade with this. And the managers love it too, because they can actually then, there's a certain level of skill competency that they want to have on their team. So that's what we hear around certifications, important personally, professionally, but also for management teams too. But then once again, get back to the ecosystem, it's important for everyone to try to, raise, get the rising tide so everyone can benefit from that. And I think that's what we see as extremely important to help better cloud adoption, but also cloud native adoption, and to get that skill gap under control.
So is this certificate like online or offline, or in person, or do you also coordinate with events like the CNCF and KubeCon, which for having some where physical interaction is also happening, or it's all virtual?
So yeah, everything's online and available through the web, through Oracle University, and there's whole learning paths that are associated with that. So it's available 24/7 all the time. We do have a variety of different training and conferences that we take on the road that are both Oracle Cloud Day conferences, but also participating in we have a 0 day, day zero KubeCon conference coming up in Amsterdam, where we're talking about Java and microservices in cloud native, and how people are bringing Java applications and microservices together using service mesh, using containers, using Kubernetes, and looking at kind of this intersection of where Java and cloud native Java is going, and also where microservices and service mesh and Kubernetes are going too. So, and a variety of vendors are doing that. And I always encourage folks, first look locally, go to your meetups, try to find things that you can go to down the street, sometimes in your own building. People are holding meetups and conferences there. When it comes to your town, take advantage of those. But also these big conferences are a great way to kind of get the full immersion of what's happening. Oracle University content, to get back to that, is available online. It's free, and along with the certification, which gives you that professional mastery levels and professional growth. There's the fact that the content's there and available to you helps you through that process of building up that skill set and making sure that you're continuing to sharpen the saw, as they say.
So if you look at the open source world, because this is the word that you're closer to, a lot of time people learn things on their own. They don't go to college degrees for that. They have their own GitHub or GitLab, repositories. So when they learn everything on their own, what role does a certification play to actually validate, or come to certify, you are capable of doing that? So is there any validation that you also, I just want to understand the process of certification for somebody who is self-taught and can get a certification.
I think the training and the certification is designed for, junior developers who have maybe 6 to 12 months of background, who are trying to learn some cloud native, but they know a language. They have some basic cloud native skills, but they're looking to now apply that within Oracle Cloud, but also learn these best practices around not only development, around delivery, around different kind of best practices around blue-green deployments, around canary deployments, around ways to architect, develop, build secure applications, things that are also important within for the enterprise cloud native sphere. So, and I think you can take the pre-test, and if you know it all, you can probably jump right into it and get certified. But I think having the learning path get you along the way it's broken up into, I think, 5 major building blocks, each of which kind of build on kind of the foundational part of developing a cloud native application, learning about how you do it on a container level, how would you do it with serverless application, using API tools, SDKs, and then taking that set of technology and be able to deploy that in the CI/CD pipeline on OCI. Doing that, that's what we talk about. You can do different deployment models. You can do blue-green. You can do canary, rolling upgrades. So learning some of those tools, some of that terminology, how you might hook that into an autonomous database for persistence. And it's also kind of an interesting part of learning how to bring in persistence and cloud native together. The third major building block around security and building a secure application using a lot of our identity access management, encryption, secure API calls, managing secrets. Fourth area is observability, which you think about monitoring, logging, notifications, events, doing that so you have control and operational command of what's going on. That's a key part of, obviously, having a manageable and operational application, especially enterprise applications that are mission critical. And then bringing in the tooling around how do you migrate an application? What are some of the ways that you can bring in service brokers and gateways, et cetera, that can help migrate an application, lift and shift it, or move it, improve it. Maybe bring in microservices to that. So there are 5 basic building blocks to help you kind of bring up a ladder. If you're not, I think if you have you're an advanced developer, you might be able to breeze through those. But having it available, I think, also is a big part of continuing to invest in the community, invest in the ecosystem. You get people to be able to prove to their management that they have these capabilities, put it on your professional sort of mastery and your development checklist. Good for promotions, good for the resume. Also, it's good for having managers set up a kind of a bar so everyone has a certain level of competency too, and but also giving them the tools to grow, not just making it a stick kind of mentality, but also providing the career growth opportunities that come with it. So.
Excellent. No, you when you're talking certificate, you talked about a couple of things. There are security, so they're all part of the same certification, or they can get certificate on different.
There's a range of certificates. I like to check my notes, but there's an architect track, there's an operations track, and there's a developer track. The developer track is new, so we just launched that. But there's architecting the applications and using the cloud native architectures or cloud architectures. I'm actually going through that now myself, so I'm going through some of the architecture training. And the developer training kind of comes second nature to a lot of us, but there's these different tracks for architects, for operations, and now the operation comes around. There's an overlap with sort of the ops and the dev side too, obviously, but there's a big theme around automation and automating using those Terraform scripts and Terraform capabilities, and we're seeing that really driving a lot of interest in integration and people connecting a database, SaaS applications, maybe looking at multi-cloud technologies where automation comes in around that. So there are different tracks within the OCI learning paths. Developer certification is a new one which we're announcing Wednesday the 4th. So.
When you look at Oracle, you have a lot of ecosystem also partners who also work. So is it only for individual developers, or all those people who consult? It also helps them also as.
We have an extensive marketplace, and obviously our partner ecosystem goes way back. There's folks who help people develop the applications and maintain them, but also helping them migrate those applications to the cloud now. So that's a huge business today. As people are looking, if there's a skills gap, obviously, a lot of consultants can help you bridge that skill gap as you're developing it yourself too. So, so this is the training is available for both the consultants, but also it also helps with, we mentioned many of the third-party tools that are available and how you bring those in as part of the developer training. So using marketplace tools to be able to access things you're familiar with already and bring those along is kind of part of the whole developer mentality, especially on the open source world. And we want to have all the pieces fit together, Lego blocks or puzzle pieces, however you look at it. And that open source compatibility is one of the things that we also train on in the certification process.
Can you talk about the pricing model for these programs if you have it available handy?
So the training is free, and so all the content, learning materials are free and available on Norfolk University. And I think it's probably for me personally, it's got the headline. The certification is I think $150. It's a 105-minute test to take, and which is I think standard for the marketplace around how certifications are covered. It's managed by a third party, and you get a pretty rapid response on the process. There's pre-test available, and a bunch of testing material to help you kind of get ready for it too. So you go through the training if you have the time and kind of attention span to go through all the training process, and I'd recommend that. You jump into the pre-test and all that, and then you move into the compliance exams itself, and I think it's $150.
So Bob, once again, thank you for this time. We talked about certification, but it plays a very critical role for the whole ecosystem. So once again, thanks for talking about it.
Yeah, good talking to you. Thank you.